Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to a very special Monday edition of the Crawford Chronicles. Everybody, I hope everybody had a very awesome Mother's Day yesterday. So happy Mother's Day again to all the moms. But we are back today for a Crawford Chronicles episode. I'm one of your hosts, Homer Chris. I got my guy Browse with us. As you can see, PK is still feeling a little bit under the weather, so he is not here, but he will always be with us in spirit. So, Browse, man, how was your weekend? How was your Mother's Day? Well, not your Mother's Day, but how was your wife's Mother's Day?
Yeah, not my Mother's Day. It was definitely my wife's Mother's Day. And sorry, guys, I changed out my camera. Looks like I got a little bit of a issue with lag on it right now, but working on trying to get that going. Anyway, no, it was great. Yeah, we got to take the day off. You know, obviously from the podcast, so the moms got to get a little extra time with the family and us, and got to do some special stuff. But yeah, so for everybody out there, a happy belated Mother's Day. Hope that all the moms out there listening got to have a very nice day and a good time. But yeah, other than that, we've got a series we got to talk about in Cincinnati, and then we've got some huge Astros stuff coming up this week with a big homestand. So looking forward to getting into both of those. Yeah, PK, hope you get better soon. And buddy, hope Mandy's Mother's Day was good. How was your weekend?
It was good. But before that, and see, you guys say that I don't have a heart. I gave us all a day off yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it was a long weekend. A lot of baseball over the weekend. As far as obviously Astros, for us, it was a lot of little league. We had some highs, we had some lows. But at the end of the weekend, I feel like with the kids, we had a really good season. We definitely got them to where they progressed by the end of the season. But yeah, man, let's get into these Astros. Not a very good trip in Cincinnati. It started off really bright with the 10-0 win, and then kind of like we got to kind of like what the Astros have kind of showed us the last few years. They score a lot of runs, and then runs kind of disappear over the next few games. They dropped the second game 3-1, and then they get shut out yesterday 5-0. So, Browse, what were your immediate takes from the fantastic series that was the Cincinnati Reds?
Well, I mean, obviously the Friday game I got super excited about. I think all of us as Astros fans did. I mean, it was 10-0, and then we got exactly what we needed from Burrows. I mean, finally, he was doing that spring training, type of pitching that he came out and looked absolutely fantastic. Went longer, I believe, than any other Astro has gone in a game as far as the starter is concerned, going 7 in that game. He looked fantastic. And then, like you mentioned beforehand, we had the hit parade behind him. I mean, the only starter that didn't get a hit was Walker. He had a little bit of an off day, but as you know, Walker's been performing, so that's nothing to get concerned about by any stretch of the means. But you had 2 hit days from Alvarez. Shea Whitcomb got to come in and play for him once we ran the score up a little bit. We had a 2 hit day from Matthews, who, by the way, has started to look really good coming out. I know you're excited about that. And then other than that, it was just good to see the guys actually kind of all getting their hits in, getting their runs in. And it honestly sparked what I thought was going to be a really good weekend. I originally predicted that we were going to go 2-1 in Cincinnati. And mainly from, what we talked about when we were predicting the series was the pitching matchups. I thought kind of favored us, one, and then two, Cincinnati was coming into an 8-game losing streak. So I thought that was going to be the perfect storm for us, at least taking a 2-1 lead and holding it in that series. And it just didn't quite go that way. But anyway, Friday was definitely the highlight. And then, as you mentioned, Saturday and Sunday didn't exactly go our ways. So I'll get into Saturday and Sunday here in just a second. What did you think about the Friday game, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I think Friday's game, as far as Burrows, he definitely showed us everything that we saw in throughout spring, which got everybody really excited. It kind of brought back the excitement of could this be the Garrett Cole 2.0 trade? I mean, so him going 7, I thought that that was fantastic. Obviously, you saved the bullpen, but more importantly, maybe this is the start that gets him, on track to where he can replicate more of what we saw in that start against Cincinnati and what we saw in the spring on a more consistent and more regular basis. Yeah, you had a big dinger from DeZenzo as well. I mean, so that's another guy you just called up. I think we're on outfielder number like 17 at this point. So um, yeah, I mean, offensively, it was great. I mean, you looked at the score, you're like, holy crap, it was 10-0. And I totally forgot that the game time was at like 5 o'clock. I mean, so by the time we got to our game, it was already like in the seventh inning and it was 10-0. So it's like, all right, well, it looks like it's going to be, I honestly thought that they was going to set us up to both get a W on our predictions. But yeah, the Astros offense after that was like, hold my beer. And we let PK, gain a game on us. So that wasn't too.
Yeah, and then the Saturday game was particularly disappointing. After we had our Little League game, I was trying to catch as much of that as I possibly could. But when you think you've got Arrighetti on the mound, who's 4-0, sub-2 ERA, and has just been lights out for us this entire season, I thought that was definitely going to be that second win and get us both chalked up in the win column for our predictions. But it just didn't go that way. Arrighetti has been fantastic for us, and nothing significantly changed in that entire fact, except for the fact that he gave up a couple runs. Or actually, he gave up what? Oh, he gave up 3. Okay, my apologies. Gave up 3. Still, he still got a sub-2 ERA, and he took his first loss of the season. Now, the way this offense has been structured, you would think a 3-run, 1 inning by the Reds wouldn't be that big of a deal. Well, unfortunately, it was because after we got 1 run in the 5th, I mean, that was all the scoring the Astros could muster. We got runners on the bases, I think, every single inning, and they were only able to score 1 run. I'll let you go ahead and look up your favorite stat while I'm finishing
Uh,
this up. But anyway, point being is Burns, the pitcher for the Reds, he looked really good. He had been, hot and cold, I guess, a little bit, but his pitching in the past has been really good for the Reds, and he showed it most definitely on Saturday. They were getting late hits in innings, 2-out hits, or they were getting like 1 runner stranded, stuff like that. But anyway, point being, the Reds actually outpitched Arrighetti, which is crazy to say because, like I said, he's still got a sub-2 ERA, but we just couldn't get that offense going.
yeah, and I don't have the number for my favorite runners in scoring position, but I know yesterday's game they didn't even, at least not to the box score, they did not register an at bat with runners in scoring position. So
Oof.
there's always that. I mean, it's just, I mean, like, I mean, it's a crappy loss for Arrighetti. I mean, you lose 3-1, and I think 2 of those runs came off of what, an error or something. I think Cam Smith booted a ball. I mean, and again,
Yep.
correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But yeah, I mean, it's still a crappy. I mean, so really, he gives that 1 earned run, and you lose 3-1. So Arrighetti's, Arrighetti. I feel bad for the guy because with him, he feels like he's got to be perfect. You can't give up more than 2 runs because the offense isn't going to pick you up. I mean, so, but then you carry on to yesterday's game where it's just like the offense was just non-existent, and I mean, like you still had. I mean, I don't know exactly what the lineup was. I only got to see bits and pieces of it because yesterday being Mother's Day, like I kind of lost control of the TV. So I did try to keep up with it, but I mean, like I'm still on the bandwagon of let's keep Tang in the bullpen and not start him. And I get a lot of people are going to ask, well, if Tang doesn't start, who is now? Who is going to start? That's a good question. Who is? I mean, Jason Alexander hasn't looked great in a few times that he's been called up here. Um, Colton Gordon hasn't really looked fantastic, so I guess they're kind of forced to have to do a bullpen game. I mean, but like, yeah, I know Logan Van Ways looked pretty good. The few innings he's pitched since he's been called back up. I mean, but it was just after Friday's game, like the Saturday and Sunday, it's just kind of been, you know, from what I saw, kind of tough to watch. It's just more of like it's been pretty frustrating, man. It's been, this Astro season so far has been pretty frustrating to watch. I mean, but hey, what else are you gonna watch? You know? But yeah, go ahead, Ross.
Well, I would say to answer your question, the Sunday game, the only really two bench players you had in was Salazar at catcher, and you had Nick Allen playing short. Which I mean, you would expect one of those guys playing on Sunday, maybe not both. But as far as that's concerned, the rest of it was our regular lineup, or what parts of our regular lineup that we have out there right now. That doesn't include the injured list. So, I mean, it's not like he was, or Spada was, piecemealing some like, just crazy lineup together to get out of town as fast as he could. But either way, it was some very uninspiring offense. You already said it. There wasn't hardly anything going on from an offensive perspective, or batters coming up with runners in scoring position to actually drive somebody in. Now, as far as the Kiwi Tang part is concerned, I totally agree with you on that. I mean, he has been absolute nails out of the bullpen. I understand that, guys, listen, this entire bullpen, this entire starting rotation, everything's been hit hard with injuries. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you grab, your one of your two or three successful pieces out of the bullpen and just say, hey, by the way, you're starting today. That's not cool. Don't do that. Keep him exactly where he's been successful. Continue to ride that, because you're going to need that bullpen no matter what. Whether you're bringing up a guy from AAA, whether some guys on a short start, whatever the case may be. Now, I also do understand that, like we said, that was a Sunday getaway game, right? So they are coming back now for a huge 7-game stretch without a day off. So, I mean, they don't get a Monday off. They don't get a Thursday off. You got a 4-game piece against the Mariners here at home. And then you're back in that write-up with more divisional play with a 3-game series against the Rangers for the Silver Boot. So you've got to be able to manage that pitching staff. But at the same time, Dana Brown's going to have to call down to AAA and be like, hey, listen, I need a fresh arm. You got to give me somebody that can give me at least 4 innings without me going to my bullpen and trying to burn one of the best guys that I've got as a starter. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do like Tang as a 2-inning guy, maybe even 2 1/3, 2 2/3, 3 if he's got a short pitch count on it. But at the same time, you do not want to get him out there starting and then messing up what's been going right so far. So anyway, that wraps up the series pretty much. We'll look fantastic on Friday, punched them in the mouth, and then fell very, very short on Saturday and Sunday. So coming back home, hopefully for some home cooking and some get right baseball. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, they definitely got hit by a 2-punch combo to knock them out of that series. Yeah, I mean, I guess the good news that you have going on is, I mean, Shoemaker has looked pretty good so far. He's last time I
Yeah.
checked, he was hitting like 350. And the fact that the Astros are now 9 games under 500 going into tonight's game against Seattle. You want to hear something crazy? They're still only 3.5 games back from the wild card spot. So there you go. So I
Yep.
don't know if that makes you happy or if that makes you sad, because they're close enough to where, I guess technically they would be buyers at the deadline. I mean, so, and again, but that's still, I mean, we got like 2 months and some change for all that stuff. But yeah, man. So let's segue into we got, like you said, we got a big series against Seattle, 4-game series against Seattle. Then we got the South Oklahoma Rangers coming in um, for the weekend piece. I mean, these are 2 series that on paper are very important. I mean, you could get yourself right back into it, but man, like Seattle's pitching is so good. I think it's I don't want to get into the predictions just yet, but I feel like it's going to be tough. I mean, their scores right now is top of the third is 2-0 Mariners. And the Seattle's pitching is going to be a massive hill to climb with this Astros offense, depending on if this offense can stay consistent, or if they going to have a game where they can't put runs across the board. Then maybe game 4 they put up 9 and then gets everybody's hopes back up. I mean, so it's just going to be this is going to be a tough 7-game stretch between these 2 teams coming up, as far as like. But the good news is You do have a new starting pitcher coming back to join the Astros. I don't know exactly what day he's going to come back, but you do have Imai coming back to pitch against Seattle in one of these games. So, Browns, what does that do for you? Does that get you all excited, or is it just meh? See what happens.
That game actually is tomorrow. It's going to be a Pacific Rim showdown between Wu and Imai.
Yes, I like it.
And I would like to get excited about it. My biggest issue that I've got is that I'm afraid they're rushing Imai back because he didn't have a good outing when he was in Corpus Christi. He had a little bit better of an outing, but not a great outing in Sugarland. And then now we're coming back just because we're basically short on arms. So here's the deal. I don't know what he's done between his Sugarland start and what he's, and tomorrow. What has he done to improve on that? What has he done to get himself right, to get himself straight and ready for this? And I will say one thing, Seattle right now has not exactly been going gangbusters. I don't know if you guys have been checking in on Cal Raleigh and his numbers right now, but last time I saw, he was hitting under 200 and only had like 3 home runs. I mean, he wasn't exactly blowing the doors off the barn like he was last year. So, but don't get me wrong, Seattle still has dangerous hitters. So just because Raleigh's not hitting doesn't mean the rest of their team can't, all of a sudden come up and punch you in the face too. So anyway, long story short, you asked me about Imai. Let's put it this way. I am concerned. I think that he can definitely improve on his last outing he had with the Astros. I would hope so, because his last outing with the Astros sent him to the IL with arm fatigue. And then he got to take some rest, got to take some time off. And then after that, obviously, got to get a couple of warm-up games in the minor leagues. So I know he had a very hard time adjusting to American baseball, between the height of the mound, the way the stitches are on the baseball, even to the point where the guys don't necessarily have like a team dinner at the hotel after the whole game's over. So anyway, I'm hoping that he's had an opportunity to adjust and that he's going to come out and look really good tomorrow against Wu. And we'll see what happens. I'm just hoping that a little home cooking and the excitement that we all had for him when he came up is going to be, exactly what we get.
All right, I'm going to ask a question. I mean, because I'm ignorant, maybe because I don't understand, and maybe it's because I don't watch too much Japanese baseball, right? If little things about like the mound height and how to grip the seams, I mean, isn't that what spring training is for? For you to slowly get acclimated, isn't that what the player workouts before spring training starts? Isn't that I mean, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, and again, this is not bashing Imai. I'm just trying to figure out is that why is it that Yamamoto was able to figure it out? I mean, I don't remember hearing any reports that he had issues adjusting because he couldn't get used to the mountain. And like I said, I'm not saying that that's what it was, but we do know, there was reports about the eating dinner in the team hotel. I mean, was that not done during spring training? Or I mean, are guys all separated at the evening because they're doing different workouts or getting different reps, during the game? I guess I'm trying to figure out what is so different from Imai from the other Japanese pitchers that have come over and had success, pretty quickly once they've transitioned over from the Japan leagues over to MLB.
Well, the one thing I do, or I can't tell you, is I have no idea what a Japanese baseball league preseason looks like. Whether whatever they call it, whether it's spring training or whatever. But I don't know what their preseason routine and any of that looks like as far as getting ramped up and getting ready for their regular season. Now, I do know, just from living in Arizona and going to the spring training facilities and checking stuff out all the time, it's like every single one of those guys, like they have like a team of coaches with them, especially we're talking about the Major League Baseball roster. You might have like a pitching coach going with some guys that were special invitees or non-roster invitees or whatever, where they're kind of bunched up in a group, or the guys that are minor league players, that they know they're going to get sent down to minor league camp at some point anyway. Those guys are grouped up. But when it comes to like, the Major League Baseball stars, these guys have got teams and schedules and things that, don't necessarily involve your teammates. It's more individualized. So I don't know if it's like that necessarily in Japan or not. Now, I would think that you would be able to adjust a little bit, or at least enough to say, like, hey, why don't you come have dinner with me? Or, if the guys that are regulars on the Astros, and I know one guy that actually did invite Imai, and was trying to help him out, and that was Hunter Brown. And Imai even said that through his translator, is because Hunter Brown and Imai are the same age. They're relatively young for professional baseball, which is fantastic. So I know they've formed a little bit of a friendship. But, if you've got a new guy coming from overseas, he's got a translator and all that, guys, hey, get them together. Go get 4 or 5 guys together. Go to a steakhouse. Go hang out. Go, learn about each other. Do stuff like that. I think that's kind of what he was, concerned about, was that he just didn't really have, like, I know it sounds stupid, but he didn't have a whole lot of friends on the team yet, which that's no reason to go to put yourself on the IL and get arm fatigue and all that other kind of stuff. I think that's just kind of an excuse. But at the same time, as far as the performance is concerned, I do know the mound's different. I know the baseballs are a little bit different. So I know that can be an adjustment, but you hit the nail on the head, man. That's what spring training's for. That is for you to get used to that new mound, which he already knew he was coming over here. So he had to have been training on it before he even signed with the team. And I guarantee you, Rawlings had to have sent him what, 2, 3, 4 cases of baseballs. I mean, come on,
Yeah, I
just
would
so he
assume
can
so.
actually,
Yeah.
get warmed up. So, I don't really have an explanation for it. I know that those are what has been put out in the media, but as far as, that being an actual excuse, I'm not necessarily buying it. So yeah, actually, I think he was just pitching bad was the problem. I don't know if it was nerves. I mean, as well as I do, it doesn't matter if you're 8 years old or if you're 28 years old or 48 years old. A lot of the pitching's like right here between your ears, man. So anyway, that's where the majority of it is.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I'm not trying to knock the guy. I mean, hell, I'll never be a major league pitcher. I mean, so I'm just trying to figure out like how some of these things that were said, you know, I, like with the mound and stuff. Like, how do you not get that sorted out before, before the beginning of the season? I mean, but like I said, I'm ignorant, so I'm just going to ask the question because I'm, like just because you're, in my opinion, and again, I don't know anything. I'm a schmuck, but in my opinion, like I don't know what arm fatigue has to do with the boys not eating dinner after a game. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Well, we spent too much
Nothing.
time talking about Imai. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and segue into the our last portion of the show, which we're gonna go take a look into what's already started. Now it's 3-0 Seattle. The Seattle series. So Browse, let's go ahead and give us the probables for these 4 games.
All right. So tonight we've already got Lambert and Kirby going head to head on the mound. And as you've already mentioned, it sounds like Lambert isn't exactly throwing lights out right away. So down 3-0 there. Game's obviously not over. But anyway, so tomorrow, I even talked about that already. The Pacific Rim matchup, you've got Wu with a 2-2 record with 4 ERA against Imai, who's 0-1 with a 7.31. And then Wednesday, Miller is
Don't
coming
say it.
out for his first game of the season. He is 0-0 without an ERA against LMJ, 2-3 with a 7.41. And then coming up
Don't
on
say it.
Thursday, you got the getaway game with
Don't say it.
our boy Burrows, 2-4 with a 5.04 ERA. And I wanted to say him first because he's pitching up against Luis Castillo.
Oh,
Get
okay.
this,
Whew.
Luis Castillo is 0-4 with a 6.57. So
Yeah,
Burrows
that
is pitching better than Luis Castillo is.
yeah. I thought you were gonna say Logan Gilbert. And I'm like, well, there goes that. You can chalk that one up to an L. Okay, so I think earlier we asked PK before we went on. I think he said he was gonna take a 4-game sweep for the Astros. I think that's what he said. I'm sure he'll pop on
Uh,
here and correct me.
yeah, definitely not. I'm sure that's not what he said.
All right, well, I'll go first. Yes, he hopped on real quick, real quick. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with. It sucks. I'm gonna go 3-1 Seattle. I mean, like I just feel like one. Uh, Even if we popped on before the game started, I mean, the Astros just normally can't hit George Kirby. So, and then Emai versus Brian Wu. Um, Yeah, I mean that doesn't do for me either. I think that's I think we're gonna woo it all the way. I think Woo's gonna win that game. I think, and then you got Miller, um, Miller versus LMJ. That one's tough too. Um, you know what? I'm gonna go Seattle in that game, and I think the Astros have hit Castillo before. I'm going to take Burrows to continue to expand his good starts. So I'm still going to go 3-1 Seattle, but we'll win the Burrows game. And PK is going to stay with a split because now that he sniffed me a little bit, he's going to try to stay close. But go ahead, Ross.
I'm gonna start with the getaway game on Thursday, and then obviously we're gonna get on Thursday and talk about this. But I agree with you. I think we're gonna hit Castillo probably pretty hard. He just hasn't had his stuff. His fastball has not been exactly up there where he's normally like hitting 97, 98 miles an hour. He's been closer to that like 94 mile an hour range. So I'll take the win there. I think that we can get right on that one. LMJ scares me, man. Whether it's at home or away, he just does not look like a Major League Baseball starter right now. He looked fantastic at the beginning of the season, but then again, so did Altuve, and they've both regressed to the end of the 2025 season versions of what they could be. So anyway, point being, I think we lose that game. Tonight, we're already in a 3-0 hole. And then the biggest question mark is what happens in the Wu E my game. So
I think
one
we're
of
going
two
to know
things
what's going to happen.
happens. Well, Emai could come out and look fantastic, but even if he does, do you trust a spotter to pull him at the right time? Because I don't.
No, no, no. I mean, I could win the
So
lottery tomorrow too, but I'm not.
anyway, so here's where I'm going with. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going 3-1. I think we win the Castillo game, and then the other three. I think the game tomorrow is going to be close. Today we're already down 3-0. We had no offense on Sunday. We don't have any offense yet, and then Wednesday is kind of not a whole. Let's put it this way: I'm taking the over on Wednesday, so you can go ahead and bookmark that.
There you go. All right, so PK went with the split. Brawls and I are going 3-1 Seattle, and here's exactly what we're playing for. We're working a little bit backwards today. As we can see, I'm still holding down first place. The Astros screwed me over against the Reds. PK actually got a W, so I think it's probably why we got all this rain this morning because he got a W. He's at 3-7, and Brawls is back on the L train at 2-8. So Brawls, I'm going to need you to pick it up so PK can be back at the bottom where he belongs.
Yeah, got to get out of
So,
that caboose.
Yeah, they've trust me. I hope that I'm wrong in these predictions, and the Astros may lose tonight, but then maybe they pull it together and take 2 of 2 or split 2-2. Actually, I hope they go 3-1. If I'm going to lose a prediction, I don't want PK to win either. So I hope it's a 3-1. I mean, just based on the last 25 games of Astros baseball, I don't think that's how it's going to go. But hey, if an Astros goes 3-1 against Seattle, I don't mind being wrong.
Yeah, I'd gladly be wrong.
So we'll see, because then you got the South Oklahoma Rangers coming up after that. So you know, they need to get back on track. But all right, guys, that's gonna do it. Wrap this up for the night. I want to thank everybody for hopping on with us. Again, PK, hope you feel better, and I hope you lose this series so you can go back to the bottom. You can follow us on all the all the social medias: Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. And yeah, if you have it, we enjoyed every time you interact with us. I mean, so if you have questions, comments, concerns, bitches, or complaints, send them to PK. He does X. So that'll do us. That'll do us in for tonight. I'm one of your hosts, Homer Chris. I got my guys Brawls with me, and until Thursday, we are the Crawford Chronicles.
Go Astros. Let's get right.
Oh. See what they can do.
Crazy thing is, man, we're only 5.5